The power of sport is a miraculous thing. It builds strength and confidence. It heals and inspires. It promotes fairness and inclusion. It brings communities together. It provides a level playing field.
Hello and welcome to Level Playing Field. I'm your host, Greg Westlake. On this edition, we bring you two stories about the healing power of sport, both the need to play and the drive to win. We have a sports organization out of Pickering, Ontario that's using the game of soccer to change the lives for kids and youth living with disabilities. It's a story about when leadership and teamwork come together with inclusiveness, the results are truly inspiring. But first, para-cyclist Keely Shaw, a life redefined and reshaped by sport. From a debilitating injury and an eating disorder to a master's thesis and even a silver medal on the World Paracycling stage, Keely Shaw is a shining example of how drive and determination can move mountains, but so can kindness and self-acceptance. Here's the story of Keely Shaw.
I cycle and everything else in my world just kind of right now is revolving in the background.
This is what determination sounds like. On the long, straight roads of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, pushing, and pushing, para-cyclist Keely Shaw trains like this almost every day.
I entered my very first race provincially almost exactly 2 years ago now. So to think that in less than 2 years from my very first road race, I'm coming off a silver medal being second fastest in the world, it's unreal.
Keely Shaw's cycling career has taken off fast. She has a busy schedule, but for the moment, she's at home spending some time with her two dogs, Lexus and Maya. Being with her animals brings her to a happy place. But her number one happy place is on her bike. A normal day for Keely is to go for a long bike ride, attend meetings at school,
For the minutes from the last meeting.
and maybe hit the gym. As her family knows, it all comes down to motivation.
I'm Andrew Shaw, Keely's husband.
I'm Greg Tolles, and I'm Keely Shaw's father.
I am Carol Tolles, and I'm Keely Shaw's mom.
Keely's passionate, driven, competitive.
Oh yeah, no, she's the most determined person I know.
Keely's been competitive ever since she was little.
You say it? Good catch. When I first finished my undergrad degree and I was interviewing for jobs, people would ask, where do you want to be in 5 years? And my answer was always, well, I don't know, but whatever I'm doing, I want to be the best.
That competitive nature is how Keely manages a rigorous training schedule and a master's thesis in nutrition.
Done.
Keely grew up on a farm in Mydale, Saskatchewan, trying to keep up with two athletic older brothers and all the chores that come with farm life.
Don't be shy. Come on.
The Tolles raise elk on their farm, and of course, they have two horses. One named Josie, the other Bud, who happens to be Keely's close personal friend.
Me and Bud got along really well, and he was super well behaved. I'd go out to the fence and he would come running over. Like we were really good friends, and there was times when you have a tough day at school, throw the saddle on and just go for a ride and just kind of leave everything else behind.
In addition to her pal Bud, she also had a great love of sport, something that came with having two older brothers to impress. Among the multiple sports that piqued Keely's interest, volleyball and motocross.
When you tell people, yeah, I race motocross, everybody kind of looks at you like you're a little bit crazy. To be perfectly honest, we probably are.
But nothing could top Keely's love for one sport, hockey.
Keely lived and breathed hockey. When she'd go out and play a position, she'd come back and say, okay, what did I do wrong? I need to do better. Like, she tried hard all the time.
I would introduce myself as, hi, I'm Keely Tolles, I'm a hockey player. My goal was always go to the Olympics and play hockey.
And then, on November 9th, 2009, when Keely was 15 years old, everything changed.
It was a really nice November day. We thought we would put some Christmas lights up. We would just do some stuff on the farm because it was nice.
She wanted to go for a horse ride, and You know, very common. She used to go for horse rides all the time, but she didn't put a saddle on. I said, like, put your saddle on. She said, oh, no, I'll be fine.
Then she went out and hopped on the horse, and then she just didn't come back.
That was our nightmare began.
We took a slightly different route than normal because it was really nice, so I was enjoying it. We went a little bit longer. We didn't have the other horse out, so Bud was a little bit lonely. And he decided on our way back that he'd had enough. He was ready to go home. So he kind of took off, and I stayed right where I was.
She'd been gone, I'm gonna say, half hour, and I was just gonna go looking for her when the horse came back without her on it. So grabbed the horse and I went looking for her, and I knew she'd be just around the yard. I found her laying out in the field.
Keely was rushed to the hospital where she was x-rayed and sent home with the diagnosis of a concussion. Though Carol called the hospital a few times with concerns of dizzy spells, doctors insisted that Keely's symptoms were normal, but her parents had a bad feeling.
I just slept with her that night just to make sure everything was fine. I got her up to go to the bathroom, and she had no movement in her left side, and I knew that this was not good. They told us that she did have a brain bleed, that they would have to do surgery. They were hoping that that was going to be enough. So it was terrible. It was terrible.
Keely was put in a medically induced coma to give her brain a chance to heal. Doctors could not confirm if she would wake up.
When she came out of the coma, there was the left side was still paralyzed, like, you know, as well as the left side of the throat, so she couldn't swallow.
But Keely was unstoppable, and she wanted to get back on the ice as soon as possible.
I went from playing AA, being scouted for the AAA teams, being scouted for the university teams, to I can't walk. But in my mind, I was a hockey player, and that's what it came down to. That was really the only part of me that I saw that mattered. So it was, I don't want to do 1 hour physio, I want to do 2, because I thought that would get me better faster.
Although no one could predict if Keely would walk again, she refused to give up. Her recovery was incredible, though her left side remained affected, which made it difficult to skate and hold a hockey stick.
It was really, I'd beat myself up, and if I just push a little bit harder, if I just try a little bit more, if I practice an extra hour, maybe I'll get there. I just, nights upon nights of staring at my ceiling with my eyes burning because I don't want anybody to hear me crying because that's a sign of weakness. But knowing that, yeah, I played hockey today, and in my mind I sucked. I went through playing this sport that I really didn't enjoy anymore because that's who I was, and I didn't know who to be if I couldn't be a hockey player.
Everything about her identity changed. It totally destroyed her. It totally changed what she wanted, who she was going to be, and we could see it. We knew she was struggling. We just didn't know how to help her.
It was the end of a promising hockey career, and for the next 7 years, Keely would continue to play intramural hockey, attempting to find the joy in the sport she used to love, only finding frustration. There was only one place to put all the rage.
A lot of the anger was taken out on myself. My world was flipped upside down, and I didn't know what to do. The one thing in my life that I could control was food.
Yeah, it was anorexia.
It just really spirals until my heart rate was 30 beats per minute because my body was starting to shut down.
Keely became dangerously thin and once again was in the hospital fighting for her life, this time almost claimed by an eating disorder.
I didn't want to be there anymore, so I knew all I had to do was gain weight. I put on the weight and that was fine. We fixed the symptom. They let me go. But the second that anything in my life would unravel, that was what I knew, and I was really good friends with that eating disorder in my mind. So that's where I would go.
We had her brothers come and talk. We all tried to figure out what we could do. We did dietitians, but Keely She was running her own fight. It was earth-shattering, it was life-changing, it was terrible.
Level Playing Field continues after the break. Level Playing Field continues now.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Greg Westlake. High performance sport is about so much more than participation. It's about that drive to go out and conquer and win, a feeling that Keely Shaw has had her entire life, to her detriment and as her saving grace. From the rural fields of Saskatchewan to competing on the world stage, Keely has always used sports as a means to pull her through. But after the loss of her Olympic hockey dream and her very identity, what she needed in her life was balance. We continue now with Keely's story.
Open up your chest, open up your chest. There you go. Squeeze that glute.
Today, Keely is at a busy gym working with her strengthening coach, Bruce Craven. Bruce has trained many athletes for competition at the Olympic and Paralympic level. Under his tutelage, Keely concentrates on a perfect squat form.
Great job with that hand. So one of the things you can do is just try and bring your hands in.
As she concentrates on her glutes and quads at the bottom of the squat, her left hand begins to shake. This is something Keely is used to hiding, but Bruce assures her this is a good thing.
Although it's one of the things that you've spent your whole life not doing, here's a good thing that it can do it, right? Because it's just part of you.
It's taken time for Keely to get to this place of healing and self-acceptance. Her initial treatment for anorexia was a minor success, gaining only as much weight as would ensure her release from the hospital. But she continued to restrict her eating well into her university years. Keely's father, Greg Tolles, says it was shocking to see his daughter during breaks from post-secondary school.
She just got home for the spring and, she was awful, like, I don't know, 80 pounds.
I would be in the bathroom throwing up, or I wouldn't eat for 18 hours. I was functioning, but I still had a lot of unhealthy coping habits, just a lot of unhealthy habits in general.
The family did everything they could to help, but Keely was still completely caught in the grip of an eating disorder. She also continued to play hockey, and it became clear that something had to give. Now, Keely has a support team in place. It started with the suggestion to focus on a new sport.
I met Keely in kinesiology, where I teach, and what I did was work with her to suggest, hey, have you ever thought of parasport? Open up your chest. There you go. Push. It was something that I don't think she had thought of, and so then we discussed possibilities, what sport she might be best at. Excellent. And that really led us on to getting her involved in cycling.
Bruce was there, he's like, yeah, like, what do you want to do? Take your pick and we can make it work. When I first started cycling, I definitely still had a very distorted and unhealthy relationship with food. And it was, if I'm gonna do this, and I wanna be serious about maybe pursuing this as a competitive sport, I need to get my nutrition in check.
I know that was supposed to be used like when I was...
And it was after I started working with Heather Hines, my dietitian. I really think that was the turning point where I went from a recreational cyclist to maybe I can do this. Maybe I do actually have what it takes to represent Canada on the world stage.
Today, Heather is reviewing Keely's iron levels.
I mean, you're not doing races at altitude, but the last thing that, like, we want to see steady in the 40s.
Yeah.
I knew her previously because she was a student in one of my classes and she excelled in the academic environment. And then she really opened up and was very honest about her history with food and her struggles with food.
In the beginning, Heather has suggested gradually incorporating carbohydrates, something that Keely was used to avoiding. With this new customized menu in place, Heather made a deal with Keely if she had any issues with the plan.
You let me know when you're not comfortable building on it, and that's where she's been really honest about saying, okay, that amount of carbohydrate is going to be challenging for me.
For lunch, Keely is making some oatmeal with blueberries. It's one of the few dishes that doesn't cause her stress.
To this day, there's always that voice in the back of my head that says, well, do you really need to eat that? Do you deserve to eat today? But because I have biking and I decided that I care about biking more than I care about that little voice in the back of my head. If I don't have a post-workout snack today, my legs are gonna kill me tomorrow and I'm not gonna be able to do that effort. Or I'm not gonna be able to finish my 3-hour ride if I don't bring some food with me.
Keely has taken what was once an unhealthy fixation on food and turned it into a master's thesis in sport nutrition, studying the effects of dark chocolate on high-performance cyclists at altitude. We agreed not to identify her test subject so we wouldn't compromise the results of her study.
You're 3K in, so you're almost halfway.
Though Keely's come a long way, some things will just never change.
I'm never happy with where I am. As soon as I finish my silver medal race, it's what can I do to be better? Somebody once asked me, how often do you think about Tokyo? And how often do you think about the next Paralympic Games? It's every single day. Like, there's not a day that goes by that it doesn't cross my mind. The Olympics and the Paralympic Games are the greatest sporting event in the world. And that is, as athletes, kind of the ultimate goal.
The way I know Keely, Keely's gonna ride hard. She's gonna go all the way because she doesn't let things get in her way.
I think if she has any say in the matter, she'll go gold medal.
I would put my money on it, not that I have much, but I would say that we're probably going to Tokyo.
Keely's journey has taught her a great deal, especially about what's important as a high-performance athlete.
Growing up, I was a hockey player and that was all I cared about. And absolutely now, I'm Keely Shaw, I'm a cyclist, but I'm also an academic, I'm a student, I am a wife, I am a daughter. I have so many other roles in my life that I play. Cycling is just one of them, and it's a very large part of it, but it's not the only person I am.
As usual, Keely's raising the bar high as she sets her sights on the future.
My #1 long-term goal is to go to the Paralympic Games. I also want to win a Paralympic medal, I want to win a Paralympic gold medal, and I want to set a world record. No big deal.
We're all so excited to see what the future holds for Keely Shaw on the road and on the track. And time will tell, but I think her future looks absolutely golden. Now let's take a closer look at her sport.
Sport Explained, track paracycling. The velodrome is a specially designed track used for track paracycling. The velodrome track consists of 2 steep bends connected by 2 straights. The bends are angled at 43 degrees. The straights are also angled at 13 degrees. The racing loop is 250 meters in length and 7 meters wide. The velodrome's track surface is made of wood, which offers superior stability and allows riders to achieve top speeds. The track bike is specifically designed for velodrome racing, with a sleek, narrow design and ultra-lightweight build. The bikes have either solid disc or 3 to 5 spoked wheels, which are 700 millimeters in diameter and 23 millimeters wide. The aerodynamic design allows for higher speeds and greater performance in track settings. Unlike conventional bikes, track bikes are fixed gear and have no brakes, which allow riders to reach maximum speeds. And now you're off to the races.
Level Playing Field will be right back. Welcome back to Level Playing Field.
Welcome back. I'm Greg Westlake. Sports has the ability to transform lives by creating a common language that unites nations, communities, and individuals. The All Abilities Soccer Program in Pickering, Ontario does just that by allowing children and youth with disabilities the opportunity to participate. This is the story of the Canadian Tire Para Jumpstart Fund that has breathed life into this program, allowing them to flourish and become a beacon of inclusiveness for their community.
So when I say go, we're just going to start jogging on the spot. So jog on the spot. Good.
It's here, in the Dome in the Pickering Soccer Center, where Coach T. Guatemo teaches kids of varying abilities to play soccer. It starts with a warm-up.
7, 8, 9, 10.
I've coached for many years, and I've never seen kids more excited to play soccer than the kids we have in our program.
The All Abilities Soccer program is offered to kids and youth with intellectual and physical disabilities. Program founder Franco Taverna says it's not just about teaching soccer skills. It's about providing a chance for children to shine.
We all know how important it is to play sports from a fitness perspective, from a social perspective, from a leadership perspective. For a kid with a disability, the opportunities are just not there. And through the program, they can become fit, make friends, and just simply have a lot of fun.
Parents agree about the importance of socialization. Lynn Leland's daughter, Elizabeth, is one of the participants in the All Abilities program.
Friendships are made between the players, friendships are made between the volunteers and the players. It's a really good time. And as parents, it's really nice to be able to come and just sit back and see our children having fun and learning some skills and not having to be right there with them.
The program offers training for coaches and volunteers on how to work with kids from the disability community.
Our young volunteers learn so much, and they're the future leaders in society, and they start learning these leadership skills through sport, through coaching, through their mentorship, through their, the one-on-one efforts that they experience here at the program.
Everyone benefits from programs like these, but organizers know they can't do it alone.
Running a program like this is not easy, and it's not cheap. We need funding and we need resources to make this program really top-notch.
That's where Canadian Tire's Parasport Jumpstart Fund comes in. Since 2013, they have engaged in partnerships to support parasport programs all across the country. Marco De Bruno is the Associate VP of Programs and Operations at Jumpstart. He understands the importance of sport.
We know that of the 1 million+ kids across the country that identify with various forms of disability, their participation in physical activity is much lower than kids who do not have disabilities. We know that there isn't enough programming. We know that the infrastructure doesn't exist to help those kids overcome the barriers to play.
Promoting access to sport has been a focus of the Jumpstart Fund from the beginning. It has expanded to include more opportunities for a variety of sports and programming types. Franco says that with the help of the Jumpstart Fund, he and his coaches can now train clubs around the province to create accessible soccer programs.
With Jumpstart and the funding, we can continue to innovate. We can continue to share what we know and what we do with other programs across the province. So Jumpstart's helped us a lot to do that. Just last year, we helped 3 soccer clubs start programs, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without Jumpstart.
This is my best job. It pays minimum wage, and I don't care. It's only for the kids. That's all I care about.
Good job, buddy.
It's important that regardless of the needs that young children and even the older kids, that they get a chance to be doing the same thing everyone else is doing and doing it in a way that they're supported for what they need to do it.
All right, 1, 2, 3, go!
The Canadian Tire Para Jumpstart Fund works tirelessly to get children and youth involved in their grassroots programming. They truly stand by their phrase, "Play finds a way," with numerous programs going on all across Canada. If you'd like more information on their programming, please visit jumpstart.canadiantire.ca. Thank you for watching Level Playing Field, where we witness how sport has the power to heal, transform, educate, and inspire. I'm Greg Westlake.
Host, Greg Westlake. Producers, Joanna Ryan, Ted Cooper. Videographer and editor, Matthew McGurk. Segment producer, Alex Smythe. Apprentice, Andrea Hodgins. Additional camera, Adrian Halter. Integrated Describe Video Specialist, Simone Cupid. Audio post, Mark Phoenix. Graphics, Mike Smith. Post-production supervisor, Janice Civitilli. Communications specialist, Greg David. Marketing specialist, Elena Falcone. Digital content producer, Blake Vandergraaf. Manager, Marketing and Communications, Janice Davidson-Pressig. Special thanks, Canadian Paralympic Committee, Pickering Soccer Club, Adventure Cycle. Senior producer, Michelle Dudas. Director of Production, Kara Nye. Vice President, Programming and Production, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2019, Accessible Media Incorporated.